Welcome to episode 324 of Pub Theology Live, a weekly conversation on life and faith over a craft brewed pint, a fine wine, or whatever happens to be in your glass. On today's episode, the Reverend Shannon Weston Ogenholder and yours truly, Brian Burkhoff, will address and engage what's happening through a theological lens with a good brew in hand.
And you could still have that good brew in a Pub Theology Live pint glass. We got a few left, and you can get one when you become a subscriber at patreon.com/ptlive. You can get access to more of our content, some pre and some post-show banter, and it's only a few dollars a month, and it helps to cover the expenses of giving you this podcast for free. So, as always, thank you to our current patrons, and there's room for more. Patreon.com/ptlive.
Today we're discussing names, defining the term Christian, and our old pal Christopher Columbus. I don't know why, but we are. So, I mean, we know why. But we're having a drink to have this, gentlemen. Ogun, you just showed up with yours. What do you have?
Well, we're recording the day after Columbus Day, which is why I have half a bottle of wine because last night we went, me and some friends got together at bar trivia, and
Nice.
and our team came in second. Our team that went by the name. Speaking of names, our team name was Quiz on My Face, and we came in second place, and the prize was a bottle of wine. So after drinking 2 pints of dark beer, we got this bottle of wine, and most of it was for me as a sort of a congratulations for my passport. I think I told you guys the travails of getting a visa here, but my US passport finally got mailed to me, so the anxiety of will it get lost in the mail was resolved. My passport's here. I'm so relieved and excited. So yeah, I drank a lot last night. I'm gonna finish this puppy up tonight. It is a red wine. I don't know. That's all I got. From the Ribeiro Santo is the vineyard. That's all I got for you. The classic style of Dao wines. Dao as in like the religion? I don't think so. From the Touriga region. Anyways, it's red wine. Portuguese red wine. And it's tasty.
Cheers.
Brian, what are you having today?
Okay, today I have a
The natural light?
Smirnoff Ice screwdriver smash.
What?
I don't know why. I'm
So
gonna
many
regret
questions.
everything.
It's like a tall boy too. Like
And
it's
it's
like
not a small one.
right.
What is the
Where did those
flavors of
come
that
from?
thing?
And it's
Which of your
8%.
children brought that home?
And it's 8%.
No.
Oh,
What is
God.
the what is the flavor like when it says, and like I know what a Smirnoff Ice tastes like, but
Well, it's a screwdriver, so it's
It's a
orange and
screwdriver,
vodka.
so like orange vodka, orange juice vodka.
okay, I missed that part.
Which I've
Okay,
never
we call it
understood,
smash.
like orange juice and vodka. Like I've never.
No,
I hear it's good.
I don't mind
Yeah.
it.
I mean, vodka's nothing. Like it doesn't. I don't know. That's why.
Right, so it's like an orange juice plus.
What do you mean vodka's nothing? Vodka's not nothing.
I mean, vodka tastes like that's what makes vodka dangerous. It's like it doesn't. It just takes on
Exactly.
the
I'm just
just
drinking
takes on the
orange
property of
juice.
whatever you put it in.
This
So
is just
like,
vitamin C in a glass.
right.
Yeah, I
Not even
suppose.
like a mimosa where you're like, okay, at least there's bubbly or at least there's something. I don't know. Some people
Mm.
So
put
the
vodka in
You know what
their
this
mimosa.
tastes like?
Oh God.
what?
What's the orange drink that was like a kind of a pale
Oh,
orange?
Sunny D, the
This
Sunny
is
D.
like Sunny D.
No, like
Unbelievable.
the worst of the worst orange
I
flavor.
Oh, I
know.
loved that stuff.
But it's kind of good. It's like makes you feel
Yeah,
like a
no,
kid
it's
again.
like Kool-Aid where you're like, this is terrible and delicious, and I want more of it. Give me
Mm,
more.
Oh my
Like it
god.
tastes like chemicals. Purple.
that's
Like,
exactly right. It tastes like orange chemicals.
What are you
no,
drinking, Shannon?
I get it. So I finally got to the liquor store and went Oktoberfest. So my local favorite, Union Brewing's Fest beer, which is their Oktoberfest beer, which I drink on the show, I think every year. 5.6 ABUs. So staying a little middle of the road. It's part of their Little German series. Sometimes
They're
they have a
little
write-up.
Germans.
This one doesn't have a write-up. So you know. But if you're ever in Baltimore, the Union Brewing, which is in the Hamden neighborhood, is just fantastic. I really love it. It's great, great hang.
All right. So what was your ABV again? What you said? 4 or 5?
5.6.
5. Brian's at 8, and I'm at 13.
There we
So
go.
we're covering the spread.
So if you add ours together, you get yours.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. As I was walking in here, Samira says to me, "No, no, no. What are you doing? Like, we haven't really, it's what is time is it here? It's a little almost 6:30 here. It's like we haven't had dinner. You didn't really have lunch. We like, went to the gym and I had a protein shake, which kind of fills you up a little bit, but it's just liquid
It's not food.
and
Yeah.
it's not food. And then I basically had like some fruit, apples and peanuts and so on. She goes, "You're drinking, you shouldn't drink this, a half a bottle of wine on an empty stomach." And I was like, "Watch me." It's gonna be a fun show. Stick your head in the door about half an hour from now.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. You shouldn't do it. No, I was late because I was trying to eat lunch so that I could drink a beer.
There you
It'll
go.
be all right. It'll be all right. 2 tipsy nights in a row. I mean, I'm living the European dream.
I can't do that anymore. I'm too old.
Hmm.
Okay, if you got to choose your name versus what you were given, what would it be and why?
Hmm.
Have you ever even thought about that? Like,
I hated my name growing up.
Me too.
I didn't like it, but I never like had another name. I mean, I was a like, so my middle name's Marie, like every other girl my age. Um, like seriously, if you go from like 40 to 45, everybody's middle name is Marie. Um,
And their
and so,
first name is Jennifer
well,
uh
like,
or Heather. Like Heather and Jennifer were like
well, and
two very popular
true,
names of white women born in the US in the 70s.
true.
yeah, you know, I have a lot of friends who's, well, Marie or Lynn. Those are the two choices. Um, But anyway, so I thought for a while like, oh, if I could go by my middle name or something, but I never really felt overly connected to it. And now I've made my peace with it. Yeah, I've never like really wanted to be
You'd
something,
have the alliteration, the Marie Meacham.
Well,
No,
I'm not
that's not.
Meacham anymore.
I understand.
No, no, no. Like actually, that was really hard. Shannon Meacham, like the dub, like the
Oh yeah.
and the O-N and the A-N M was like really hard.
Now you've got the
So now I've
rhyme.
got O-N and O-N and it works much better.
It flows.
It does flow.
Love it.
It flows.
Well, my maiden name is Pershke, so I was Shannon Pershke
That's what
forever.
yeah, I realized
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
not getting the maiden name in there.
Shannon Marie Pershke. So I kept my maiden name as a second middle name. So I have, I'm SMPW
And
for
that's a
initials.
sweet, that's like a personality type.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's not hyphenated, it's not whatever. It's like a second middle name.
I
So
like it.
when I shorten it, it's Shannon MP Meacham, which I joke to my kids is military police. So, like
Exactly.
you have to pay attention.
Exactly.
I don't think I knew your like original surname before now, your maiden name before now.
It's German, German,
Wow.
Polish, German. My grandfather was from Germany.
Nice.
I didn't like my
And
name growing up because nobody had like my name is uncommon anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. Like no
Yes.
matter where you
right.
go, US, Barbados. I was teased a lot growing up because of the name. And then in the 70s, when they made the TV series based on the Shogun novel series,
Right.
Yes.
right? I got teased about that a lot until I actually then investigated what a Shogun was. And I was
Right.
like, oh, I'll go with that.
Right,
So
right.
did
I'm
you.
in.
Yeah, I'm in. And it was a few years later that I also learned. So I'm thinking like we didn't really have middle school, but so somewhere in my early teens, then I realized or learned what my name truly was. It's the name of an Orisha in the Yoruba tradition. Ogun or Ogun is god of iron. So I'm like, oh, I'm named after a deity. So now I'm cool with my name. But yeah, growing up, I was never happy. And similarly, I never thought of an alternative, like call me something else instead.
Hmm.
I just used to be like, why did my parents like strap me with this name? Did they not understand I would suffer as a result of it?
Did they
But
know the origin when they picked it, or did they just?
they did. My dad did.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't really tell me what it
It's like the
was.
St. Browns, Brian. It's like Amun Ra, and it's
Equanimous.
yes, you're right.
There you go. There you go. And he also mispronounced it because apparently he didn't hear it. So I
Oh,
got like the English pronunciation Ogun with the emphasis. The actual pronunciation is
Foo
Ogun
Fighters.
or
Yeah.
Oguan. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Ogun.
Ogun or
Ogun,
Oguan in
Oguan.
some places. It's always fun when
I think it might
sometimes
be a bullet dodge that you didn't get Ogun.
but I've embraced it now. And honestly, so here in Portugal, because of the Brazilian connection,
Yeah.
and Ogun also shows up in Santeria and a lot of other like
Mm.
African adjacent faiths. Like when I show people or people read my name here, their automatic pronunciation is Ogun.
Oh,
Which
Nice.
which again now I have also embraced
there you
as
go.
Yeah.
well. So
And
so
it's
no
a fairly
complaints.
like they don't find it that unusual, like when they as
They find
unusual
it
as like
right,
Americans
right.
did. Yeah.
They've heard of the name, they know about it. It's still unusual that someone will be given that name.
Sure.
That's still a thing. And my middle name Renato isn't like exactly something that I ain't got a problem with it either, but I don't know.
You weren't gonna go by it.
Yeah, that feels
Yeah.
weird. That feels weird.
Renato.
Reynato. Like, again, no
Oh, that's
explanation.
even cooler.
Maybe.
I mean,
What's in a name? What is in a name? And actually, when I published my book, like what 12 years ago, somebody in the it was our denomination has its own publishing house, and they're publishing it. And one of the people on the editorial board was like, "You should consider a pseudonym because people won't really relate to your name." And I was like, so basically you're being low-key racist right now.
Right,
yeah, right.
exactly. Like, come on.
100%. People won't
And so you're
relate.
like, not only
Right.
will they not relate to my name, I'm gonna put my face on the cover. Like,
And that was the other thing. Like the cover of the book is basically me standing there. So
Right.
like they can see me. So I'm like, we're not hiding anything.
right.
And now they will get to know my name. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Nice.
No, I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Brian, did you want another name? Or did you want it spelled like
No, that's the part I liked. I liked that it was with a Y, Brian with a Y, but I never thought it was that great. It just felt like kind of meh. I
yeah.
feel like even the name Ryan is kind of cooler. Like drop the B and just go with Ryan. That feels like I don't know, cooler name. But it's fine. I have more issue with my last name. Like you guys have easier, like
I did not. That's
no,
why
you
I
do
changed it
now.
to begin with.
You do now.
That's why
But
she
I got
married
that
Derek.
option.
That's why she married Derek. So she get an easy last name.
Like
I
Holder, Weston, those are not that complicated. But
yeah.
Berghoff, it's like, how do you say it? How do you
Oh my
spell
God.
it?
I just automatically spell like when I was Pershke, I just like they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Shannon Pershke, Pershke." And like I'd break it up so they could like write it down.
Yeah.
And it just automatically I
So
still spell
know.
well. I still spell Weston for people, even though it's easy because I'm so used to spelling my last name.
Yeah.
Like it's automatic. Like you probably do the same thing. Like I like why even say it? Can I just spell it for you? Like
Oh, for sure. Like
I've had to
people will spell it
right.
Burkov or something.
yeah.
I'm like, well, that's
Yeah.
my Russian cousin,
Right, exactly.
Burkov.
I've had to spell my first name for a lot of people, especially Americans,
Sure.
and I'm like, you spell it like it sounds, O and gun. Oh, yeah, straightforward. But they would spell it Ogan. They will spell it, I don't like all kinds of weird. And
Mhm.
the thing that, and I do, I don't think much of it, whatever. It's a name you don't know, strange to your ears. I'll cut you some slack. What I hate is people on social media, like on Facebook, who will be writing a response to a post or something,
Oh, and don't spell it
and my
correctly.
name is there. The name is there, and
Yeah.
not just at the top of the page, but like in the comment box, my name is there, and people are still spelling it incorrectly, and I'm just like, it's come on, come on.
I,
And at first, I used to like just let it slide, but now I correct them because I think that's like I need to bring y'all up to speed because in some ways you're just like diminishing what's happening here and not paying attention.
I will have that too, both in emails in which they've typed my name to get my email, and then they will spell Brian. I'm like, didn't you see what you literally just, or on Facebook as well? And it's like, it's
Right,
right there. And why are you
right
spelling it
there.
with an I? Like, I get that's the more common spelling, but mine's not uncommon.
There's something about mine isn't so much of an issue with spelling, although it's odd how many people do get it wrong. But like, um, for some reason, when I first say my name to somebody who doesn't know me, they think I say Janet, and I have no idea why when I say Shannon, they hear Janet. And it's just the weirdest.
You
So
look like a
actually, when
Janet.
this question was first asked, I'd be like, "Well, I changed my name to Janet because that's what everybody thinks I am
And then they're
anyway."
like, and then they'll say Shannon.
Right? Like it's
They'll
just this
reverse
really.
it.
And they're like, "How did I get that?" And I'm like, "I
Mm.
don't know, but you're not the only one." Like it's. Although I have to say, when I became okay with my name, um, was when I found out what it meant, and it means small but wise, or
Mm.
like little one but wise. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Like
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
like I like wore it. So Ogan, I was a little bit like you, right? Like once I understood that's not why it was chosen for me. And yet, like once I understood what it meant, I was like, all right, I'm proud of that. I'm okay with it.
There you go. There you go. So, a name that people of a certain faith will apply to themselves is the word Christian. So, let's discuss the challenge of defining that word today and maybe your own relationship to that word, Christian, because it's tricky in these times.
I don't know that I use it to describe myself anymore.
Mm.
And I know that's a weird thing to say, but
I don't use it a lot either, and if I do use it, I will say, but maybe not the kind that you think.
You got to use a whole lot of like
I got to offer some
provisos,
disclaimers.
disclaimers.
Exactly, exactly. Or if someone would ask me, "Are you a Christian?" My first response would be, "Well, what do you mean when you say Christian?"
Mm.
Because I need to clarify. Because I don't want to just say yes. I got this a lot when I lived in North Carolina.
Oh, I
you
bet.
know, uh,
yeah.
are you a Christian? Well, it depends on what you mean by that word. And then be like, what do you mean? What do we mean? There's only one definition of
But
Christianity.
Ogan,
I'm like,
have you
not
accepted
really.
Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior into your heart
Exactly,
and in
exactly,
public and been baptized
exactly.
for it?
Or I will tell them I'm a pastor, and they'll be saying, "God bless you," and I'll be like, "Yes, she does." And then
Ooh.
that would be a whole thing.
And then you're like,
Um,
well, I'm the God of iron, so I guess I bless myself.
Right.
there you go. There you go. I am my own faith. They
I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man. the the I've gone back and forth with this. When I was more evangelical, I was proud to say I was Christian, and then after my crisis of faith, and I left that, I didn't want anything to do with that word. And then when I became into unity, which is like will describe themselves as more spiritual, not religious, but still center Jesus. I didn't use it then either. But what changed my mind, or who changed my mind a lot, was Marcus Borg and his write-ins, and then also who wrote "Why Christianity Must Change or Die." I forget what
Spong.
is the dude's
Yeah.
Spong, right? Bishop Spong, right? So after reading these theologians, I was like, yeah, part of the reason I stopped using the term Christian because I didn't want to be affiliated with like the evangelical, the far right political folks, and I'm like, but that's not the only face of Christianity. I I think I should take on the responsibility and the work of reclaiming it, to use Spong's terms, reclaiming it, as there's also a very progressive slash liberal slash like doing what Jesus said
Hmm.
um, of Christianity as well, and that's what I subscribe to. So, so yeah, and it also depends on who I'm talking to, who's the audience, as well. I when people ask me to describe unity, I say like, we when you think of Christianity as the big tent, you've heard that metaphor. The big tent of Christianity is Catholicism, and like the two big tent poles, Catholicism and the Protestant movement, right? And it's a big tent. There's room for everyone. Unity, we're like that tent flap on the side that somebody forgot to tie down, and we're just like fluttering in the breeze. So we're like barely there in terms of what you would say Christian in relation to Christianity, but we're affiliated enough. In fact, the official umbrella term is New Thought Christianity,
Right.
but an evangelical would look at us and go like, "Yeah, y'all a cult, and we're nothing to do with you."
I I mean, as I think about it, like the denomination gets replaced for the word Christian now, right? Like, so I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Presbyterian or I'm a, like whatever. I work with an organization that it's a university and it's a Christian university. And like before they hired me to do the work that I do with them, they were like, she was like, "Are you a believer?" And I was like, what an interesting way of asking that.
That's an even
In
more fraught
God,
term.
yeah, in
Right.
God or aliens, like
And I
that's the
was
big
like,
umbrella right there.
I mean, my answer
I
was like, I'm
want
a
to believe.
Presbyterian. I was like, I'm a Presbyterian minister. And I'm like, this is one of those occasions where I'm like, you've emailed me like 15 times and right at the bottom of my signature says
Yeah,
Reverend Shannon, like that kind of thing. But I'm like, whatever, that's fine. You're an important person. You don't necessarily need to pay attention to my signature on my email address or whatever. But I'm just surprised that you don't know that already. But it was just there are specific terms that because of my upbringing in the more conservative church I stay away from. And weirdly, Christian is one of them. Like, follower of Christ, I'm okay with, like,
Right.
all
Holy
kinds
Ghost
of.
sanctified.
I mean, minister, I'm okay with. Like, minister, I have less baggage around than the word Christian. Like, it's just
Mhm.
weird. I don't know.
For a while, I actually didn't like to be called a pastor, because for me, pastor had more of a
Yeah,
like
that's different than
mainstream
minister.
slash evangelical
I could get into the differences, but
connotation.
still.
I know. So now I'm like, yeah, I'll go with whatever. Because I think for me, it's about the framework that people are coming from. Like there were some people who were like fresh out of the Catholic Church and would call me father. That one I would be like, no.
Yeah, no.
No.
Nope.
Nope. That's where I'll draw my line.
Brian, you probably, I mean,
I am not your father.
you run in a little bit different. I mean, part of the reason why I use the denomination is because, like, most of the people I'm dealing with are Christians, understand the denomination. Like, I'm kind of immersed in the world. I'm not dealing with a lot of people that are outside the church in my work world, at least.
Right.
But you probably do run into this. Like, are you still asked this kind of regularly?
Um, I don't know if I'm asked. But like you, I don't know that I go out of my way to claim that either. Like I also will just lean into the denominational, be like, oh, I'm a UCC pastor. And now if they don't know what that is, I explain.
Exactly. That's
And
easier to explain oddly than Christian.
right. Well, yeah, and it explains what kind of Christian, right? That
Hmm.
that I'm a part of this tradition, but it's very expansive and blah blah blah. And here's its roots and all of that. And I'm
Like,
happy and proud to describe that, whereas the word Christian, it just is like, ugh, it's like there's just so much baggage that it feels
yeah,
murkier and it's in the eye of the beholder, as Ogun said,
right.
what is the person bringing to that question or to that term? And then you have to react to that as needed.
I mean, I've always shied away, like, I mean, the the evangelical movement's been around my entire life, obviously, but like if Trump's calling himself a Christian, then that's definitely not what I am, right? Like, let's
Well,
just go there.
he's not calling himself a Christian. Other people are, and he's not denying it.
And I mean,
You know.
I am,
well, that
yeah,
sounds an awful lot like the Epstein files. Others are claiming he's in there
I,
and he's not denying it.
Exactly. Like you want to think of me of that? Sure. I'm not
yeah,
comfortable using the term, but if you are, let's go with it.
I mean, yeah, I do think, but I'm with Ogun. Like, I do, like, we do need to kind of reclaim these words and like,
but do we? This is
I
this
mean,
is the
but
thing I've
and
been
we have to
working
be
with
very
recently.
careful, right? Like, we just,
Yeah, it's a good question. Is it a losing battle? I mean, but my fear with conceding it is that then the culture just has this broad assumption and narrative that Christian means X, and it's white nationalist, it's
right.
uber evangelical,
But
it's
but
all
isn't
these
this
things, and it's like, but that's not who Jesus was. So, like, if Christian means a little Jesus, then I want that to be defined differently, and I don't want to let it go.
but isn't this the story of the evolution of Christianity? Because remember, originally Christianity was like a slur. It was like those
Sure,
Christians,
right.
and let's round them up and put them to death. Like these, this
I mean, that's really what
their
I'm going
cult.
for. I want
Correct.
to reclaim the slur.
I
Like,
want to reclaim this
like, I mean, right?
Exactly.
Like,
show title: Reclaim the Slur.
I
What?
mean, I feel like
Oh no,
I'm
that
the
was
only
last
one
week.
contributing to show titles lately, by the way. I think you two need to step up on the show titles. Like,
I, I,
I recognize them. You don't like go into them saying like here's the show title. Like you say some awesome stuff, and I'm like show title. Yeah,
I'm not sure we're
no,
going with that. Let's stay tuned.
why not? That's brilliant.
I don't need
Reclaim
the
the
well,
word
but
slur.
slur in a show title.
but I mean, right, like if that's if we're getting in trouble for trying to if it's a slur because out of our Christian faith and responsibility, we are trying to give communion to people detained, if we're trying to stand in the way, like let's reclaim that
Right,
as
right.
like if you're calling me a slur in that way, like like that's the idea here that I don't have any problem with at all. Like
Yeah, if I'm a thorn in the side of the powers that be, then you're damn right.
yeah, then that's where I'm happy to reclaim that
Yeah.
original kind of idea of this.
So the issue then becomes yes, thorn in the side of the powers that be, but the powers that be are also using the term Christian,
Oh, for sure. And
I,
that's the
right?
deep irony and tragedy of this time.
I
Yeah.
would love to. I mean, I was not paying enough attention in church history class, really in general, but let's just be like when like Constantine became Christian and then forced like the Roman army to become Christian, which then the Roman Empire, like what does that do to the movement at the time
Oh,
when their whole definition of the movement, like that would be really interesting to study right now as a way of how we navigate this time when the very thing that you're working against takes over, right, your movement from you. Like, I mean, I would be really curious for church historians to speak up right now about how they navigated that process.
Well, I
for
mean,
sure.
it's what you know. I think maybe this is what you're alluding to. This is MAGA taking over the Republican Party,
That's
right?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly. And so
right.
like was that when the desert mothers and fathers were born or was that way later? Like what?
Well, I think it was both earlier and later, but
Yeah. So anyway, just curious. Like I don't know. It'd be a really interesting study.
that would be interesting because I do think the desert and mothers, desert
Mothers and
fathers
fathers.
and mothers
The desert
who
people.
are also mothers and fathers, they would have been like this anti-imperial
Hmm.
countercultural resistance, right? Like the thing's getting taken over, but we're not gonna claim the power that now some priests can claim power, bishops or whatever, because the state
Right.
is behind them. That's not the kind of Christianity we believe in.
Right. So they're the original, not my Christianity, you know,
Yeah, they wore the
not that kind of
t-shirts.
Christian.
They wore the t-shirts out in the
Yep.
desert. All right. In John 14:13, Jesus says, anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. The philosopher and author John Caputo says, would not a political order based on Jesus' teachings look in almost every respect the opposite of the politics that presently passes itself off under the name of Jesus? That kind
Yes.
of shifts like individual obedience to sort of a national scale. But you'd think if you have a nation on a large number of people claiming to be people who love
So,
Jesus, and then wait, but their politics
right.
look the opposite of Jesus, like what?
So last week we mentioned the book Separation of Church and Hate,
Yes.
which uh, again, plug in. I'm doing a book study. Head over to projectsanctus.com. We're doing it in November. But the the point of it is that what we, for the most part, call Christianity today is again really Pollyanity, and a
Yes.
lot of the references or the I don't know mandates, the tenets of Christianity are being pulled out of Paul's writings and being called scripture.
And
And
Paul as interpreted through the Reformation often.
Right.
right. And also Paul interpreting the teachings of Jesus, a man who he never met, followed, and heard
For sure.
in person, right? So we got a lot of loss of translation stuff going on here
Yes.
when it comes to Paul's writings and his teachings. And as the author John was it Fuselier of the Separation Church and Hate pointed out, um, Paul had a much like more rule establishment sort of approach to Christianity, where Jesus was just like, love your neighbor. Like
Right.
Jesus took all the rules and boiled them down to love your neighbor, love God, love your neighbor.
Right.
Like that's it. And Paul is doing the reverse. He's like creating all these things. But again, the context is all of these churches are springing up again, needing help with issues that are rising, and he's addressing them. Paul never imagined that his letters would become the scripture, like and revered and followed like the Torah. So that's I think that's an important acknowledgement that we have to remember. Christianity, we like to say it's based on the life and teachings of Jesus, but modern day Christianity is maybe what 1/3 Jesus, 2/3 Paul,
Yeah, and it also made it through
if that
again
much.
the Reformation, Luther Calvin interpretation of Paul's writings, this sort of
Mm-hmm.
transactional faith where it became about Jesus' death and resurrection, almost
Right,
primarily, and then his actual teachings were just that's a nice add-on. But the important thing is you're a sinner and Jesus died for your sin and he was sinless and
right.
substitutionary atonement and bada bing, bada boom, you're going to heaven. What? What? Read the Gospels and tell me where that is.
Well, and I mean, as I think about this, first off, like there is no politic. There's been no order created out of Jesus' teachings in any. There's no. How do I put this? Like, I
Uh,
don't know that there's a way to do it purely, like in purity.
have we ever seen it? And has anyone really ever tried?
Really ever tried. And the closest we come, I think, are religious. There are some religious communities. So the rules of Saint Francis, for instance, are like, or the rule of Saint Benedict, like maybe as close as we get.
Or maybe the Quakers, or
Maybe. Like
maybe.
again, you're like I don't know that the two like you I don't know that it's fair to say we're not following the politics of right? Like there is no such there are this is really hard to talk about. Like right, like there's not a form of government
Right.
that Jesus created that we're not following,
You're right. You're right.
right? And so now there are principles, and this is where the rules of these religious orders come in, like which is exactly what happened with the Torah, right? Like how do we live these principles out? Well, that is going to take some interpretation.
Right.
So all of it is going to be interpretation, including Paul's way of trying to get these communities to live out the ways of Jesus, including Peter's attempts to get religious communities to live out the ways of Jesus. So we're always going to be living in that interpretation, but we're so far from it that even though like there's this thing that's like this is not the politics of Jesus, like we can very clearly like there's no such thing as that, and this is definitely not it.
Yeah, I think that's said it
Like
perfectly. I think that said it very well. Like maybe there is no like political order based on Jesus' teachings and purity because that's really not what he came to do. But also, this definitely isn't it.
right, we're so far from it.
You mean Peter's, give us all your money or die sort of
Right.
mandate wasn't
I mean, and
wasn't
this
wasn't
is
wasn't what Jesus
where
had in mind.
I mean, you know that like I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Paul, but what I do appreciate about Paul is the opening of the original disciples. Like I do appreciate that, right? And I even appreciate that about Jesus' own teachings of like I didn't come to help these people, and this woman going, "Yeah, but you could." And he's like, "Oh, right. You could. I could." Like, "Oh, this message could be for all." And like Paul did take that to another level, and I'm grateful for that. He just, was a
Right,
little
expanding
convoluted.
beyond sort of the ethnic, close ethnic circle to an expansiveness for all people.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
whether or not that was actually, whether or not Christianity should have been its own religion versus a sect of Judaism, I don't know whether or not that was good for us, like ultimately.
Well, fair.
Like, I'm not
Super.
sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of like where I look back right now, I look back at the United States and the Revolutionary War and be like, yeah, that was bad, but if we were still part of the imperial, like we'd have universal health care and et cetera. But we'd still have a
And a better
leader,
accent.
better accent, but we'd still have a leader in the Epstein files. So I don't know. Maybe not.
I know. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah.
What
And
about
everybody,
Jesus' statement itself? Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. Does that feel kind of severe or is that fair? We don't use the word obey at
I was
times
gonna say obey
anymore.
trips us up in our
It does.
we don't like that word.
No. What are you talking about, Jesus? Obey.
But he washes their feet right before this.
It's true.
He
It's
is
true.
he is the sim okay, so we're in
So
John
so he
so we're
threw
in
he
John
threw down
13.
he threw down a bait and switch. I'm gonna wash your feet. I mean, make you think I am like the servant leader, but also obey me.
Was this passive aggressive
I mean,
A
Peter,
little manipulative. I think it
or
was a little. I
manipulative?
think just a little bit,
All
just a
right,
little bit.
Shannon, your take on the
no,
context.
no, no. I'm just like, okay, so this is part of the discourse, right? The long goodbye. This is the beginning of the long goodbye in
Yeah.
John. Like, so he washes their feet. Peter, like Jesus predicts the Peter denial. Peter's like, no, never. And he's like, get behind me, Satan, right? Like the whole thing. And then do not let your hearts be troubled is the beginning of John 14. And then Tom and like, go to prepare a place for you. And Thomas is like, we don't know what you're talking
How can we know where
about.
you're
How can
going?
we know where you're going? Like, you're talking nonsense right now. And then we kind of get to this place of like, if you love me, you'll keep my commandment. And my commandment, by the way, is to love your neighbor,
Love one another.
to love one another, right? That's the greatest commandment, quote unquote. And then he says, anyone who loves me will obey my teaching. Well, the obey my teaching is love one another. So I don't have a problem with that.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Right? Like if that's the teaching, if he's talking about the greatest commandment here and servant leadership that he has built up to this moment and says, "Oh, like if you love me, you will obey this." I don't have a problem with that.
I hear you. I think that's a good framing. I like it.
Now, if members of an evangelical church says, "If you love me, you will obey me," that's a completely different statement because
Right.
but I think that's a, so here's the like golden thread rule or the litmus, like this isn't a litmus test. This is a, has everything you've done up until this moment when you ask for my loyalty shown me that you're trustworthy and that you're, have good intentions and all of this stuff, right?
Are you channeling Trump right now? Because I feel like that's what's happening.
No, 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 it's the opposite, right? So like we've built up to the greatest commandment to love one another. And then that's where we get this line of anybody who loves me will obey my teaching. The teaching is that you will love one another.
And he
Yes.
has not only said it, he's embodied it.
And he's
Right.
embodied it through the servant leadership of the washing of the feet and the prediction of the denial and also the prediction of the forgiveness of the denial, right?
But
Like
opposite side of the coin isn't basically what
devils don't
Trump's
need
saying now.
advocates, Hogan.
That's why I didn't use that phrase. Anyone, isn't that what Trump's saying now? Anyone who loves me will obey me.
That's what I'm saying. Like
But
but everything you do until you say that has to show
Why you deserve
why
to be
you're
obeyed.
worth
yeah, it has
loving.
to
Yeah.
have a moral, authentic quality. Like it has
Hmm.
to be worth that. It has to be worth something. If you're a horrible person and then you say, obey, if you love me, you'll be loyal.
And by the way, it's not
BS.
obey me, it's obey this teaching. It's obey
Good
my
Yep.
differentiation.
Yep.
Ooh,
right? So if my husband comes to me and says, "You like if you love me, you'll obey me." Okay, that's a completely different statement than if you love me, like everything we've cultivated in our life together, everything we find valuable and good that we're working towards, we will be true to that. That's a completely different statement.
yes. And if he
We have
says,
this.
obey
We
the
have this.
teachings of Derek, which are wash my feet, dinner by 6:30, favorite beverage
There's our
prepared.
show title. Obey the teachings of Derek.
First off, first off, I don't touch Derek's feet. One of them's pretty nasty. Second off, we eat dinner at 7.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Actually, so our anniversary was last week. Can I tell you this real quick? And we had this whole like we just do like I don't know about you guys, but like you take stock on your anniversary of like
Mhm.
how do you think it's going and can you believe it's been 8 years and
Sure.
blah, blah, right whatever. So then we get into this discussion where like I do the dishes and he does the laundry, but like he never folds the laundry and puts it away like ever. And I'm like, and he's like, well, so what's wrong that you do that? And I'm like, well, that's like, he's like, I will take the laundry down. I will wash it. I will dry it. I will put it in the basket. I will put it in the room. Like, I washed the clothes. And I was like, so I'll put the dishes in the dishwasher, run it, and then I'll just leave them. And you can just pull the clean dishes out of the, right? So we're having this whole discussion about this thing, like completely like 10 years in of being together.
Love it.
We're like renegotiating who does what. So that's the teachings that we have to deal with in
There you
life.
go.
And there's no obeying, there's constant renegotiation.
Our running joke is Samir likes to say, your house, your rules. And I go like, neither of us believe that.
Right.
Why do you keep saying it? You know,
Right.
because she in many ways she wants to invite me to be more forthcoming in what I want to happen, right? And there are times where I'm very clear about what I want to happen, what I don't want to happen, but most of the time I actually don't care. Like, and when I really care, I will let you know, sort of deal. So she's like,
Yeah,
your
but you're
house, your
putting some
rules.
labor on her when you don't care. Like that's the
Exactly.
problem. Yeah.
So when she started with the whole your house, your rules, so I started caring more and
Mhm.
started sharing more, only to face the we not doing that. So I'm like,
Yeah, it's nice that you
what
spoke up, but
what exactly?
nah.
So
Exactly.
I do think a fairer interpretation of this rather than a spouse, although I do like, right? Like there's some negotiation. But I think a fairer interpretation is like with your kids to say like I've taught you to do well. I've taught you to be a good person. I've taught like
Mhm.
so part of how like I've like one of the things we say about our kids or our parenting constantly is like our main goal is to create kind, compassionate humans. Like whatever they do in the world, however they are, right? Like whatever profession they go into, however much money, it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
kind, compassionate humans. And so that to me, there is some like if you go out in the world and you're a kind, compassionate human, like there is some of that, like showing that you that's how actually I love that you love me that way, that I've given this to you and you're loving me in that way. And so I just think there's this embodiment of this pass it on ness to Jesus' teachings. And this is one of them.
And is it so then I guess the question is, I know we're spending a lot of time on this one. Is it fair to use this as a lens through which to evaluate certain movements, sects, denominations? people groups that claim to be, the word we used earlier, Christian, and you're kind of just ignoring a lot of what Jesus taught and or doing the polar opposite of what Jesus taught. Is that fair to use that as a lens to evaluate? Well,
Yes, not just
Absolutely.
fair, not just fair, but required.
maybe the best
Yeah.
way to do it, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
our
yeah,
de our denomination, my denomination is known for, so this, for instance, right? So at our national headquarters, it's known for declaring just a day where they do mass layoffs, and you just walk in and you're locked out of your computer and you had no idea it was coming. And we, like, for years have been
Wow.
saying that is how corporations run. That is not how we function as a church.
Yikes.
Like, what is, I mean, how is that in, I mean, this to me is as close to James as Jesus gets, of like, if there's no action here, then there's no belief. Like,
Yeah, right.
I mean, why aren't we acting in the way that we say that we believe? So if there's no action to it, then you don't actually believe it.
Bingo.
I mean, I fully agree with that.
But and it gets back to, what do we mean by when we say the word Christian? Like, if you claim to be a follower of Jesus and literally everything you do kind of tells otherwise, then you can use that word, but it doesn't mean what you think it
Right.
does.
Also, like, how are you making your money? Like, what are you do, right? Like, how, like, are
Sure.
you, I mean, we've been struggling for years of this question of divestment.
Right.
And it's super complicated because we live in a capitalistic society where things are super complicated. But like, the try is worth it, because if we really truly believe this, then we have to put the work in to do it.
Right.
I understand it's not easy. I understand, like, the people that are like, it's been 20 years, why hasn't it been done? Like, because it's really freaking hard to untangle yourself from this web. Like, I understand that. But the striving, to me, like, that's what you need to show
Yeah.
that you're
which is
striving for,
which is
right?
what I think really is the through line of the anyone who loves me will obey my teaching.
Yes,
Like this is
exactly.
how you demonstrate that. You put in the effort. Like
Mm-hmm.
you try to do what I say to do. And
Right,
we know it's going to be hard. We know it's going to take some effort. We know you're going to suffer as a result of it. But but isn't that the point? And that's what will bring about change. Enough people doing this. But if we back away because it's too hard or stay silent because it's unpopular, then we're enabling
right,
the oppression.
right.
There you
Exactly.
go.
What's the alternative here?
Exactly. More oppression. Speaking of oppression, Columbus.
Yes. So yesterday, we're recording this on Tuesday, October 13, was traditionally Columbus Day, which is a federal holiday in the United States celebrating the anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas. Thankfully, many communities, states, cities, counties, municipalities are reclaiming it as Indigenous Peoples Day, which is a vast improvement. Um, so when he arrived 1492 on an island in the Bahamas, he came ashore with his sailors carrying swords. The indigenous people ran to greet them, bringing them food, water, gifts. And he wrote that, among other things, he wrote, "They do not bear arms and don't know them, for I showed them a sword, and they took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want." And we know he did all that and worse. So, yeah, discussing the complicated legacy of Columbus, and what does it say that we still have a federal holiday celebrating this guy? Um, and should
Not
that,
just a federal holiday, but then we have a president who just again made an official proclamation
right?
that we're back to Columbus Day, no more Indigenous Peoples Day, as if we needed to have a
And
proclamation
then
for that.
posted with that a graphic of him wearing sunglasses and Christopher Columbus wearing sunglasses, like they were just two cool dudes.
It's the things he's been posting lately, just like the
Lately?
AI stuff. Well, I mean more the AI
Oh,
images,
the
right?
AI
Not
stuff is.
not just
It's so
the
bad.
long ridiculous tweets, but the
I
AI stuff is just like what is happening right
I mean, of all the things that I go, what is happening right now? That kind of
now?
stuff actually brings me a little joy. Because
Oh my
like
god.
him is like a Jedi with the, the red sword, and I'm like, oh, so he's part of the Empire. Like,
Oh my
like I
god.
don't know. It just brings me this like he went off about the Time picture. Like, he was on the cover of
Yeah.
Time and he went off about the picture of like his hair's gone. And I'm like, dude, you don't have any. Anyway, it's amusing. Listen, I'm
You
angry
get
about everything right now,
Well,
but
and him
that stuff is
saying that
amusing.
on
yeah.
January 6th, the Biden FBI planted
Yeah.
240 some
Oh,
FBI
I know.
agents. It's like, wait, you were president. There was no
I know.
Biden FBI. It didn't exist.
No,
Oh
there
my
was there
god.
was a couple of those this week where like
Yeah.
he blamed Biden that he was president when he was president, but
Yeah.
But to your point, if we don't laugh at some of this stuff, we'll just be crying all the time.
yeah.
But yes, I mean, it was colonizer mentality that he showed up with, and
100%.
they
So
did it to
Ogun,
colonize.
you're in Portugal right now, like
Yes,
because they sailed from Portugal.
they did. He was
Is that
sailing under the auspices of, I believe, the Spanish, right?
right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
most other people were like, "What? Sail west to get east? You madman! Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
So sorry. Finish your
No,
full
no, no.
question because I jumped
I
ahead.
was more
Uh,
I for some reason I don't know enough of the European
so
history to
there's
know if Portugal was part of Spain at that point
it was
or
not, and also there's no Columbus Day over here. Just
but is there
like
any
no,
conversation about their
no,
participation in that? No.
But I will
no,
say
no.
a
Uh-huh.
town just north of you in Spain, Bayona, Spain, is the place where the Nina first came. It was the first ship to return back from his three
Hmm.
ship expedition. And they
Uh-huh.
still every year celebrate the day of arrival. And they got the first news
Mm,
of the quote, New World was in that
yeah,
town in Spain. And so they do
gotcha.
still commemorate it.
So, and that's such an interesting like juxtaposition for me in my mind, right? Of like the horrors of what actually occurred in the Americas and the truly amazing like the it wasn't a discovery, right? Because it's existed, but
Of course.
Right.
the bravery, the ingenuity, like whatever the word is, to sail
And
west,
there's
right?
actually a
Right.
massive monument on the river here in Lisbon, area called Belém, where they have this like still the existence remnants of this medieval like tower that sits in the river. But there's this massive monument dedicated to the spirit of exploration,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, there
And
you go.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to like
Yeah.
divest that like we honor the spirit of exploration, right? And now our spirit of exploration is more like connected to space,
I was gonna
but
say it's very similar to like the waste of space travel, how much money it takes, how
right,
much. And now we're not, anyway, but I mean, we're not hurting people at this point.
not
We
yet.
might
We
be
don't
hurting other planets. Like, I don't know.
right.
But
And if
right, like
and
we're hurting the Earth.
heaven forbid we find some extraterrestrial creatures who are like, not
Yeah.
as militarily strong as us. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Who
you
bring
know,
us food and beads, and then we say, "Ooh, with 50 people, we could."
exactly. And we drop a
But
nuke on them.
it's not just the amount of money, it's the fuel waste, right? It's the there are truly like creation issues here,
Right.
right, around the earth. And yet it is a massively celebrated, and we have this discussion in our house all the time that we know more about space than we do about our oceans. Because we haven't, and
Yeah.
it is massively dangerous, equally, if not more dangerous, to explore the depth of the ocean. And we probably will do a lot more harm if we do that to our ecosystem.
Right.
But anyway, it is that balance that we're trying to navigate that I don't know that we talk enough about in general, right? Of
Well, if Columbus has shown up, sorry for all the background noise. I live on the top of a hill that is the highest like lookout point over the city, so it's a massive like tourist draw. And sometimes like the
people
tuk
stop
tuks
and
and the
take a photo.
taxis back up as they're getting to the top of the hill. So that's what's happening now. But to this quote, if Columbus had showed up with that spirit of exploration,
Hmm.
met the indigenous people and formed like a harmonious connection with them, it'd be a much different story
Yes.
than what we
Yeah.
have now. Then the conquest. Let's also remember, the conquest was basically ordained by the church, right? The doctrine of discovery.
Correct.
So the church was also very much enabling the domination and subjugation of peoples, to say that, like, you go, you explore whatever lands you find, you claim in the name of God, and they're rightfully yours as ordained by God. And it's like, right, what sort of deal. So that's part of like the history and story of Christianity that we also have to kind of
Yeah.
acknowledge. Fun side note, everybody's favorite Supreme Court justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she used the doctrine of discovery as the basis for her ruling when she told, I forget which Native American tribe it was, they wanted to like buy back their land, and didn't, and felt like because it was originally theirs, they shouldn't have to pay taxes on it
Right.
or whatever. And she's like, yeah, no, no, you have to pay. And part of her justification for the ruling was the doctrine of discovery. And we were all like, come on, RBG, like we were on your
Right.
side,
Right.
we were rooting for you. And what, like,
But
the
if
doctrine
you,
of
And
discovery,
there's
really?
Supreme Court precedent going back to like the 1840s of making rulings based on the doctrine of
Yeah,
discovery. So she's
yeah,
relying
exactly.
on an old precedent
right.
in our messed up system.
But if you, but to that point, we just had this long discussion of like, if you love me, you will obey my teachings.
Mhm.
And then we get this quote of like, hey, these people are innocent. They welcomed us as friends. Therefore,
Yeah.
right, I'm going to do everything in my power to conquer them.
Then then I'm going to completely take advantage of their kindness and generosity.
Exactly.
Like what kind of person does that?
And that, I mean, that's so like, what, so is this, I mean, so A, we are talking about like the dare, like, I'll just go out on a limb to say the bravery or the stupidity, I'm not sure, but like to sail in a direction that nobody's ever sailed before. And if this is the guy that you get to do it, then maybe we're better off not knowing.
Right.
Like,
That's a great point. Like, and maybe it takes a certain personality to take on
right.
that adventure, but then at least bring some crew along who can
Like somebody who's like, dude,
yeah,
no.
like the next
Well,
step
wasn't
is
there
not
was
to
there
just,
wasn't there a priest on board who
well,
was sort of like, this isn't the way to go, and they like just basically ignored him? I think I've
that
read
might
that
be
somewhere.
right. That might be right.
And
Um,
like isn't, I mean, there's a difference in this. So it like, I'm just trying to go in this place of like, there's a difference between the way that Columbus entered, or like got off the ship, and the way like the Puritans got off the ship, right? Which is like, we don't know what we're doing. We need some help.
right.
Like, yes, there were terrible things that happened, but it wasn't like this was deliberate.
This is like
How can we exploit people? You know?
instantaneous exploitation.
Exactly. Exactly.
So fun fact about the actual creation of Columbus Day. It was, the impetus. I'm reading from the Britannica Encyclopedia, by the way. The impetus for making it a national holiday was, um, there was a mass lynching of 11 Italian Americans in New Orleans, because this is in 1891. So there was like a lot of, talk about welcoming the stranger. There was a lot of anti-immigrant and anti-Italian sentiment. So
Right.
apparently anti-immigrant sentiment in the US is not a new thing.
Oh,
So
Nope.
1891, this is happening. And there
I
was
think it
a New
started
Orleans,
here. I think
yeah,
that's how it got started.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Some popular police chief was murdered. They blamed the Italian immigrants, and then they basically lynched them. So, in order to sort of appease the Italian population, the president at the time, Benjamin Harrison, a president that whose name I really don't recall ever hearing anytime, but there he was, Benjamin Harrison. He proclaimed the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival a national holiday in 1892. But the intention was it was just going to be a one-time celebration. and now
As a
and then
way of
eventually, right, of
calming
kind of
the
like,
calming the
yes,
mob. Yeah.
of calming the mob. Exactly. So now, and then, now we are where we are.
And it was 400
um
years, and you know, but we don't have to do
yeah,
it at 401 years and 402
but
and every year
apparently
after.
here we are.
Here we are.
And it's interesting. So on Threads, where's the my social media hangout now, I posted a picture of people hanging this banner saying like Columbus didn't discover, you know where already thousands of native tribes and peoples were already living. It was not discovery. He got lost. He was sailing, thinking he's going one place, bumped into another place. Where we sort of celebrating this, and it was fascinating. First of all, I will never understand how social media algorithms work, because that post, seriously, like 32,000 likes, but then like I'll spend my time writing something that is really meaningful, and like crickets. So I don't understand how social media ever works.
No doubt.
But to see the comments of, people who support versus people, who are bent out, obviously from a racist and point of view, are bent out of shape over going like, how dare we question not just the validity but the reverence of this, colonizer. Get over it already, because it is what it is. So it's just fascinating to see how people are still triggered by the idea of Columbus was not the hero that so many of us are trying to make him into.
Yeah.
And at some point, even in Columbus's history, again, my memory of not paying attention much in history class, wasn't he at some point later in his life basically arrested and was like in prison and in chains in front of the queen, and she basically had to give him a pardon for like, hey, you did all this, you open up the new world to us, we'll pardon you. But apparently he did some real shady stuff, and again was,
Yeah, I don't have
I
that
don't know.
history down well enough to
I don't either.
confirm or
Because
deny.
as much as our current government is trying to make a pro-patriot curriculum, um,
Yeah,
like growing
exactly.
up in Kentucky's in the 80s, I'm pretty sure mine was pretty pro-patriot curriculum. And so there was nothing
In,
bad said,
indeed.
about this. Yeah, is pretty shady history that I learned. Not that again, I was paying a whole lot of attention, but I'm pretty sure part of it is I think I don't know. This is not the equivalent, but it's like when people first go to seminary and it's like, what do you mean like this isn't actually true? When
Right.
people learn that like history is only written from the view of like the conquerors, which in America has been the white people, like what do you mean it's not true? And just the outrage of having for whatever reason, your worldview
Yeah.
questioned.
Or what do you
You know,
mean we don't have any of the original manuscripts of the Bible? We only have copies of the original manuscripts.
right. What are you talking about? And actually, the
What?
Dead Sea Scrolls were as close as we got, and we all flipped our shit, right?
What do you
Like
mean
whatever.
Jesus didn't speak King James English?
If it's good enough for Jesus.
It's good enough for me.
I will forever be grateful to the man who came to fix our dryer at our house. And it said KJV, if it's good enough for Jesus. And it was not a joke. And I have remembered it since I was 12 years old. And I thank him every day,
That's amazing.
every single day,
Amazing.
because I say it all the time.
That's awesome.
So thank you, friends, for tuning into Pub Theology Live. You can show your love for the show by becoming a supporter on Patreon. Get access to pre and post show banter and more. Visit patreon.com/ptlive to get started. And a big thank you to our current patrons. You can watch full episodes on YouTube, and our top cities tuning in this week are Dallas, Texas, again back to London, England, and Ashburn, Virginia. If you'd like to start a pub theology gathering in your town, find support and resources at pubtheology.com. So until next time, friends, drink responsibly and keep those conversations flowing.